Okay, here it is, the GoPro 7 Hero Black. I mounted it on my CB500X using the GoPro suction cup, and I'm gonna take it for 3 test spins, one at 1080p, one at 2K, and one at 4K. I'll be shooting at 24 frames per second for each, and hyper smooth will be in the 1080p as well as 2K, and standard image stabilization at 4K. Welcome to High in the Sky. This is part 1. That's 1080p at 24 frames per second. I'm gonna head on over to this vegetarian restaurant for lunch, and in the process I'll be showing you how the GoPro 7 Black performs. Once again, it's 1080p, 24 frames a second. Little background, I live in Thailand, in Chiang Mai, in a little area called Moreira, just outside of the old square. A lot of narrow, when you're not on the main highway or the main roads, mostly the roads are really quite narrow. Though they're flat and there's not too many potholes, they're far from smooth. So if you could see the GoPro as I'm riding through these roads, it would be shaking, and shaking quite a bit, not just from the vibration of the motorcycle, but just the roads are rough. Now I'm getting onto the highway. This is one of the not the outer ring. Yes, I guess this is the outer ring. I should know the names of these roads by now, having lived in Thailand for over 8 years, but I don't. So here we go. Lots of movement on the roads in Thailand, no blinkers. You gotta be prepared for everything as you're going. I actually caught this on a nice day too, because this time of year it gets real smoky, but this particular day it was really quite clear. Not a perfect day, but really quite nice. The action cam I owned before this one was the original SJ cam. And if anybody's familiar with the SJ cam, it's one of the Chinese knockoff brands of GoPro. Was the original, and the original didn't even have any, other than HD 1080p on the front. It wasn't even branded as a SJ cam. It was just purely a knockoff that cost maybe $30 or $40 six or 7 years ago. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Okay, so here we are. I'm pulling up to my favorite little lunch spot. Okay, that was the first run using the GoPro Hero 7 Black. Went around town a little bit. All right, I'm hopping back on the bike. The first trip was 10K, 24 frames per second. I'm gonna go back on the bike now I'm gonna be shooting at 2K at 24 frames per second. So obviously the first part on my way to the restaurant was not shot in 10K. Now we're on, we went right from Hangong Road to what I call Royal Road. That takes you, if you were to cross this street, which is known as Canal, that would take you to the Royal Flora, which is this beautiful place. Anyway, now we've just made a left onto Canal Road. This is perhaps one of the best roads all around Chiang Mai. It's one of the newest, it's curvy, it's nice, it's smooth, it's fun to go fast on. The GoPro is going to perform well. It's obviously going to be at its best here. These are not the roads I want to take you on to really get an idea of how well this product performs. This is something you'll notice too. In Thailand, there's always construction. Just from the little that I've used this in the Hero 7, it's remarkable. It's incredibly smooth. I've seen the videos like most of you have. I mean, if you really want an in-depth on how this performs with all the different functions, there's a million videos out there. But this is primarily about popping a GoPro on a motorcycle, riding around and capturing your shots, essentially leaving the settings on automatic when it comes to exposure. You don't want to mess with that because the lighting conditions are constantly changing. Oh, and by the way, this like hyper speed right here, this was done in DaVinci Resolve. We were just on the Outer Ring Road, and now we've made a left into these back streets. There's a lot of like ins and outs and bumps and all kinds of stuff over here. There's a lot of lines in the road I'm running over. The road surface changes quite a bit, but you never see it. It doesn't show up on the video. On these back roads, you'll notice how narrow they are. It's one of the charms and one of the biggest problems. All of these little arteries that lead to the main roads, they're probably as wide now as they were 100 years ago. So you have these vans, SUVs, they essentially are rolling, dead ends. It's constantly slowing down and stopping, waiting for two cars to pass each other. There's no shoulder. You'll notice that walls are built right up to the property line. So as a good example, you'll see coming up, when you're going to make a left or a right on these back roads, you can't see what's going on until you are right on that turn. So there's a lot, you have to be really careful because it's not unusual to be surprised by somebody making a wide turn or cutting more narrow, so you got to be real careful. It can be nutty, but I enjoy driving here way more than in the States. Police don't pull you over. I mean, there's all these little stings and stuff that you might have to deal with. As long as you have your helmet on and you have your license and your registration's up to date. All these little sting operations that they plant themselves in specific areas, and you kind of know where those areas are after a while. So this is the end of the 2K section, and in a moment I'll be making a water run in 4K. There we go. Getting some water. Alright, this is 4K with average stabilization, ultra wide view. Look at that latency, that's something. As you can see, I moved the camera from the mount on the front of the bike to my helmet, and to see the difference there. I mean, maybe it would have been a better idea to leave it on the bike to have a true comparison for all three in the same mode. But I didn't, and here we are. So I'm going to probably be talking over myself a little bit. Ooh, that's some sun. Audio really, I don't believe it really worked out from talking through the helmet to the GoPro. I would need an external mic, a lavalier inside the helmet, and perhaps I'll do that for longer rides. Heading down this road, which takes you from Hangdong Road all the way, like 4 kilometers to the Ping River. But this particular road has no name. You see how narrow these roads are? There's no shoulder. The other side where there's no shoulder, it's not unusual to see a truck or a pickup truck that goes into that canal. I've seen quite a few actually in the few years I've lived here. Here we go. I love these little water stations. Although I get water delivered to my front door in bottled water, but every now and then I don't leave it out and I get caught without any. So you go into these water stations, and for a couple of baht, which is like pennies, it's not even pennies. So everything is being cut at 2K, so I'm upscaling and downscaling. Just actually, I'm doing this just to see if I can do it. So you'll tell me, assuming anybody's listening. Now I'm going to go back out to Hangdong Road and around. Come on now, Mr. Ranger, get out of the way. Here's a cool little bar that I'll be passing by in a moment. Here comes the little, on the right hand side right there. There you go. I go there every once in a while, prepare my classes for the next day and have a beer. It's a great new Chinese noodle shop on the right there. And these other little like shops, they mostly serve you know meat and pork, and I just don't eat that much pork anymore. So unfortunately, I have to avoid these places, but they're really nice. They're inexpensive. The food's good. Oh, you see that right there on the left-hand side, all that water? There's quite a few little pubs down that way, outdoor places where people drink and get smashed. They get smashed. It must have been a follow the leader once. There were 3. There were these white pickup trucks with these big boxes on the back of them. And some of these, they carry such enormous loads. They travel back and forth to Bangkok. 3 of them, one followed the other one right into the water. Everybody seemed to be okay. And there was a couple of guys still drinking. They had full bottles of Leo in their hands, and they were laughing. And this particular area is being built up. It's a shame. It won't be long. You see those black boards, that like divider that's gone up. All those are going to be all houses, and this is all new construction. that's my 4K trip. That's my 1080p trip. That's my 2K trip. That's my 4K trip. Neighbors, they think I'm crazy because I get mad sometimes when I'm in the house and I yell and scream like a nut. People come by and they look in my window to see if I'm okay. Anyway, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. High in the sky, subscribe and comment, and if I keep doing this, maybe come back and say hello.